What's going on, nerds? Welcome back to Comic Book Nerd Nation, episode 119. I'm Fox2. We got Pirate,
Hello, greetings. How you doing?
Topher,
I don't think Pirate can even count to 119.
and the whole effing Brian.
How about 120?
Next week. That's next week, buddy. That's all right. Before we kick things off, I wanted to just take a minute and thank all of our new listeners. We've been getting a ton of support on our audio-only platforms. Somewhere in the ballpark of 8 or 9 times as many listeners as we've had. But thank you to those of you who have stuck with us. We're still getting good comments on our YouTube page, on our YouTube channel. On those videos, we got a comment. Actually, I'm gonna try and pull it up real quick here. I thought it was kind of clever. Let me see if I can pull this up real fast without creating too much dead air time. On the last episode, Geese Lord Zero said 20% of America's youths thought that this was a great episode. So I thought that was I thought that was pretty. I thought
Statistically accurate.
Statistically accurate. He's coming with the knowledge.
Is this kid the Lord of the Geese? Because I'd like to ask him to tell his geese to stop shitting on my car.
If you could, Geese Lord Zero, if you could hook that up, just get your geese to stop shitting all over Brian's car.
Actually, it's probably the reason why they're shitting on your car.
Yeah, that probably is the reason. You talk about shit all the time. This dude hears it, and then he makes the fucking geese take.
He's like, I'm going to have geese poop on his car.
Yeah, I'm tired of hearing about poop, so now he's going to be living in it. Fuck him. How about them apples? How about them goose droppings? All right, well, let's not delay. Let's jump right into the news. Pirate?
Oh. News.
Wow.
That was the worst jingle ever.
Worst news jingle in the history of news jingles.
Hold on. I got you. A little something I've been working on.
Oh, Jesus.
Let's see here.
And he's got it right here at his fingertips, ready to call up in a matter of minutes.
In a matter of 20 minutes
I just
lead time. Hold on. We're getting there. For those of you that can't see what's going on, Pirate is fumbling through his cell phone trying to find something. He has made something special.
Uh-oh, here it comes.
No.
News.
Awful. I mean, not a bad song, but just not a jingle at all.
No, it's not.
Just like,
but it's better than
he waited until the beat dropped and then he...
Did you make that? That sounds exactly like a Skrillex song.
No, I swear to God, it's off GarageBand.
Oh,
it's just some
so
loop.
fucked. Oh my God. All right, first bit of news. Zack Snyder revealed that Ezra Miller as Flash will appear in Batman v Superman, and he said that he's going to appear to Batman in a dream sequence to deliver a cryptic message.
Cryptic or Kryptonian?
Cryptic.
See, I read something else that said it will seem like a dream, but not.
Well, they want it to...
I don't know.
He said that... Here, I can try and pull up his exact line.
If you have his quotes, then I trust quotes better than some random thing I wrote.
Dead numbers.
Yeah. 551.
Snyder calls the cameo a giant Easter egg and says that fans will have to determine for themselves whether it is truly a dream or a transcendent appearance by the actual Flash.
Right.
He says we had such a straightforward narrative.
Batman!
Let me finish reading the damn quote. He said, we had such a straightforward narrative on the one hand. I wanted this other layer of the movie to be complicated and bizarre.
To be confusing as fuck.
Yeah, well, complicated and bizarre. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't know.
Tell Zack Snyder to stop taking those roids.
We set out to make it as vague as possible so that people couldn't call it bad. we figure if we leave it open to interpretation, then nobody can say it sucked.
Well, I don't.
I could say anything sucked.
I mean, this news came on the heels of also finding out that Jenna Malone's. We all knew that Jenna Malone was going to be in this movie, but nothing ever surfaced about what character she was going to be playing. There was a lot of people
Speculating?
speculating that maybe she was going to be Robin as Carrie Kelly or potentially Batgirl. And we found out that her role was actually cut from the movie, and Snyder confirmed that it was not Batgirl or Robin. So it feels pretty late in the game to be making these kind of changes and announcements. And I mean, this movie comes out in just a couple weeks.
Comes out. Is it end of this
I mean,
month?
that's not unheard of. If she was a smaller,
like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's not even the last. It's 2 weeks from now, maybe.
if she was playing a smaller character, that's not unheard of. I mean, oftentimes they make cuts to movies. I mean, like Rogue was completely cut from the Days of Future Past movie, fairly late. There was a character in Star Wars Force Awakens, an emissary of the Resistance that Leia sent to the planet that got blown up, that her scenes got completely cut out, so like it's not unheard of for that to happen even fairly late in the game as they try and trim down the runtime of the movie. But but it would have been interesting to know who she was playing. Like, it did seem like that was a bigger news story back then. That she's going to be
find out in the rated R.
Yeah, the director's cut, rated R.
I'm sure the Blu-ray package will come with all those deleted scenes and everything in it. What do you guys think about this Flash deal? The way that they're doing it. I mean,
I still think like the one thing about this movie that's always had me worried and pissed off is like, okay, the two things that have always had me worried and pissed off about this movie are the fact that it seems like they're just cramming every character in here that they can think of, and here it is again, like, oh, Wonder Woman's in it, oh, Cyborg might make an appearance, oh, they're going to show Nightwing maybe, oh, it's going to be...
Cyborg is in it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we're going to have a mystery appearance by Flash that may or may not be real. It's like, it's just, they are trying to shove everybody in this movie. It's like we've got to compress, a dozen introductions of characters into, like, we want to compress our timeline here. Like, we want to start making these movies. So let's just stick them all in this one. Then we can say that they've been introduced.
Did you also
hear it just seems crowded. And the second one is that, go ahead.
Did you also hear that Lex Luthor used, in this movie, he uses General Zod's dead body to create Doomsday.
Yeah, that's
kind of cool.
I just read that the other day. I didn't realize that's been
using
out
a Kryptonian artifact. I think they recently said.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that works for me.
The other thing is we might not get Green Lantern until maybe Justice League Part 2.
They said probably not.
Yeah.
But the other thing that always got on my nerves about this movie is that, like, it's weird how they are refusing to tie in their TV movie properties, and they want to keep them all separate, but they keep reusing all the same damn characters. Like, not all the same, but you had Harley Quinn make an appearance in the other one, even though they ended up not using her so that they could have her for the movies. Yeah. But you've got Deadshot that they recast. It's like,
but they killed them.
Katana they hadn't killed.
Katana. There's a gajillion villains.
Waller they killed.
Billions. Villains. Oh, spoiler alert. I haven't seen that yet. So it's like there's all these characters that are in in the DC universe. And I get that, like, they're not going to put C-listers in a big budget movie. They're not going to dip the bottom of the barrel. But you'd think that there'd be enough characters that if they're going to keep those two, franchises separate, that they could have separate characters and they wouldn't confuse things by having a Flash in one and a Flash in the other, with no word as to why they're not interacting or the same or crossed over. You know, like it just I don't get the
Do you think
motivation
we'll have-
there.
Do you think that we'll have a Green Arrow on the cinematic side? I mean,
No.
Somebody posted a picture of Ben Affleck and Leonardo DiCaprio when he got his Oscar, and they said, now that Leonardo DiCaprio has an Oscar, can we get a Green Lantern? Or not a Green Lantern, but a Green Arrow. And I started thinking about it. Leonardo DiCaprio would make a pretty good Green Arrow.
Leonardo DiCaprio play whatever fucking role he wants. That dude is an amazing actor.
Yeah, but he's
Name
never been like...
name one bad role that he's played.
Um,
You can't do it. You can't.
Growing Pains.
Oh, there you go.
In a movie. Name one bad. Name one role in a movie that he played that was.
And really, he was playing next to Kirk Cameron, so he still looks pretty good in that by comparison.
There you go.
Yeah.
And there you have it. I'm just saying, like, dude is pretty good, even when he's put into some. Even that. What was that shitty movie? Shutter Island. Like,
I actually like Shutter
I like
Island.
that movie.
I did not like that movie at all.
I
But I
thought
thought
that
he
movie
was
was
really
awesome.
good in it. I thought he was really convincing in it for sure. The guy is just a talented fucking actor. I don't know. Him as
Titanic?
Him as,
Yeah, I was just say I didn't.
I mean, he
say
was good in it.
Titanic.
It's not my favorite movie, but I didn't think he did a bad job. But the idea of him playing Oliver Queen would be pretty. That would be pretty cool.
I could actually see that. That could actually work.
Yeah, I think he's one of those few like
He's a
really
little short for
big,
it,
really big named actors that can still not pull you out of the role. You know, like
Yeah.
you can still see him as the character, not necessarily just Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, but now that he has an Oscar, I think that's not going to happen. Now I'm going to look at a giant gold man.
You're gonna
on
look at it
screen.
differently.
I'm going to be like, he's not the same. He's just not. He doesn't have quite the range he once had. I don't know. So he looks awfully shiny up there, kind of distracting from the story.
How hard do you think he's partying right now?
Oh,
He
so hard.
Finally got his fucking his Oscar after how many
Did you see-
nominations?
Did you see the reaction video of when Leonardo DiCaprio gets it and the dudes and like the house goes crazy? They're like, oh, they start breaking dishes and lighting shit on fire and they're screaming like, fuck yeah. It was funny because it looked like me and Doug's old apartment could have been. There was like a wrestling mat in the kitchen. They were like screaming and breaking shit. Dude's like ripping his shirt off. One person's lighting a teddy bear on fire.
He's probably partying so hard that in a week's time he's going to show up at an ER and a doctor's going to have to remove that Oscar statue from deep within his rectum.
That might be the case. There's been all kinds of reports.
he doesn't
of him,
want
like,
no one else to
disappearing
steal it.
like remote islands with like a boat full of bitches and just laying pipe for weeks at a time. Just
You know
what, though?
slaying
I've heard-
a dick.
You
I've
just
heard
sell
of
that
this
idea to
though.
Pornhub.com.
Like I've heard like straight up that he is a dick. Like this one dude was posting, I think it was on this Reddit about him, and he said like, yeah, he bangs a chick in his apartment building in New York or something. And he was like drunk coming out of there one night, and he was they shared an elevator, and like Leonardo just walks in and like leans up against the wall and tells the dude what number to hit. And like the dude looked at him and hit like every number but his or something.
Oh, that's fucked up. That's great. Like, bitch, you could ride this motherfucker all the way up. Fuck off.
I mean, if that was a random stranger, that'd be a dick move. But if Leonardo DiCaprio did that to me, I'd be like, well played, sir.
I would. I'd be like,
Wait, Leonardo. Wait a minute. Which person in this story was Leonardo DiCaprio? Leonardo DiCaprio did not hit the buttons,
he did not hit the buttons.
so he told
Oh,
somebody
well,
else
then
hit
how
the
does that
button
make him
for
a
me.
dick?
Because he's like,
He
like
came in. He was like, hit
yeah,
this
it was just
number.
him and another person. He like leans up against the wall, like, and is, like tells the dude.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
So the dude hit every other floor in the building except for his. That's great. That is a great story. Oh man, how pissed do you think he was?
I don't know. I wonder if he actually like got to hit everyone because I don't. If somebody did that to me, even if I was,
I
a
just
dick, it was
turn.
like-
I just get out.
I'd be like, No, I'd be like, I just cut him off and fucking hit the number. I mean, if it starts a fight in the
Slap-
fucking elevator, so be it.
Slap him in the face and hit your floor. Bitch!
You're locked in. Welcome to the Thunderdome, motherfucker.
Yeah. Shit's about to get real till floor number 2. You're lucky you hit 2 and not 7.
You just continue this ass whipping on a fucking multi-tier level.
I just pee on him.
Just start pissing on his leg. Like, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's my bad. All right.
Yeah, I'm rich. I'm famous. I can do this.
Let's talk about the new Ghostbusters trailer that just dropped. 2 days ago, I think.
It dropped all right.
Yeah.
Have
Dropped the ball.
have all of you guys seen this?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
compared to your previous thoughts about what this movie was going to be, how did you feel about the trailer?
My thoughts have not changed about the movie whatsoever. I think I'm not a fan of it. I'm gonna watch it or try to. But the trailer did confirm that it has really good special effects. I cannot hate on the special effects
No,
and the
dope
ideas
stuff.
of the equipment that they used. But I mean, the story in of itself looks like trash.
What about you, Topher? You just watched it right before this.
Yeah, I thought the trailer looked decent. Some of the humor seemed a little like silly.
Stupid as hell.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. Like, it looked like it was well done. But my big issue with movies like this, you know, it's nothing against the cast or the production value or anything. It's just that anytime you take a movie that, like, part of its charm and what makes it so good was the time that it was made in. You know, like Ghostbusters was classic, you know, 30 years ago. You know, it was like it just fit then. You know, like if they remade Back to the Future now or any movie from the 80s, like, part of what made those movies good were the time period that it came out in. You can't take a story from the 80s and do it today and have it have the same charm. And like that to me is what it was missing. Like, it looked like it was trying too hard to be, you know, to recapture something that you can't do today. You know, and I don't think it's the fault of this particular Ghostbusters movie. I just think that it's too hard to do a movie remake, you know, 30 years later and have it be anywhere near as good as the original, because part of what makes a movie classic is the time period that it's done in.
I mean, I think if we was to have another Cold War, those movies would do good. So, I mean, you know, you want to replicate a movie.
So
from
they're
the
going to start a
80s?
viral marketing campaign by reducing or putting out communist propaganda and making everybody scared of Russia.
Absolutely. When we start having kids having to dive underneath their desks as a drill in school, that's when those movies are going to be good. I'm just saying.
The black and white movies where you duck around a corner and put a newspaper over your head and wait for the
Like, that shit's
for
gonna
the
save you from a
nuclear
nuclear
bomb to blow
blast. Like,
through.
what the fuck ever? Who
You watch
was
the
that?
wind roll
fool?
through, the leaves blow across the street, then you walk
Was
out,
the-
and you dust yourself off, you fold your paper up, and you go along your merry way.
Was the general intelligence of the population just that much lower back then that people
They-
actually
well-
bought that shit, or was it
No,
just?
we all know
I don't-
how to. We all know how to survive a nuclear blast. Just jump into a
in the refrigerator. Exactly. I don't think it's a question of stupidity. It's just I would say
I mean, I
ignorance.
think it is.
With the real meaning of the word of ignorance, just not being informed, not knowing. I mean, like, they didn't have the internet back then. Like, people I don't think people
Even
had
so,
things in the general
even if-
consciousness back then that
I mean,
you
even
do
if
now.
You didn't
Like,
have the internet back then. How could you think that you can poke your finger through a fucking newspaper? How could you possibly think an explosion of any size, any size, even a
How
firecracker?
many-
You've seen
how many
firecrackers
people-
go off.
how many people back then do you think have actually seen an explosion?
Firecrackers every 4th of July. Everyone.
Yeah, and
everyone
they don't
in America. So a ton.
Right, and
You think back then M80s were legal?
firecrackers don't
You think a
level
fucking
city
newspaper
blocks.
would stop an M80? It wouldn't stop.
I mean,
that.
I don't I don't think people had any idea the scale of the destruction
No,
that it
I
actually
agree.
would have caused.
I agree. I'm just saying, like, even if the bomb or the nuclear explosion, if
Look.
you will, was the size of an M80, it still wouldn't protect you.
We are Americans. We fight with whatever is available. If you got a newspaper and that's all I got, I'm gonna fucking beat a nuclear blast with a newspaper, and then I'm gonna go kick the commies' ass with it. I'm gonna go give them paper cuts all day long. That's the American way.
America.
Been that way, stays that way. Give you, and you know what? That newspaper.
America.
Way to,
Newspaper
way to
was made by
isolate all of our
capitalists.
international
Bam.
listeners. Wow. Wow.
I'm just saying, America.
I'm just saying.
What'd you say?
America.
Way to alienate what?
I said, way
America.
to alienate all of our international listeners that we
that's-
just thanked at the beginning of the.
Everybody from Russia, or
Yeah, we actually have some. Quite a few people.
well, if they outlaw us in Russia, then everybody
they
who
live
listens
in
to our
Chernobyl.
podcast there can just go invade Ukraine and listen there.
Netherlands and Latvia, Guatemala are all among
Wow.
the top listeners.
Latvia, nice.
Yeah. We're big in the Netherlands, apparently.
I
Das
love it.
Gut.
I love the Dutch.
I love the Dutch oven.
And he gets the alley
Oh, slams it home. Oh shit, Brian, did you watch the Ghostbusters trailer? What'd you think of it?
Yeah, I agree with John and Chris. That's one movie they can't remake. It's just
I mean,
That-
I don't
you
know.
can't.
I'll see it. I'll watch it. I'm not gonna watch it in the theater. I'll watch it once
Yeah,
it
I'll
comes
wait.
out, like maybe on Netflix or something like that.
I'll wait till Cody gets it.
You know, and it looks there's parts of the trailer. I'm more excited about it now than I was before the trailer, for sure. I'm still not like excited about for the movie, but the technology, the gear that they use, and the special effects, like Pirate said, like I'm excited to see that stuff. The story
I
I
thought
couldn't give a fuck about.
I thought
You
they
know
had
what I-
really cool color.
The
I guess it's
proton
called
pack looked bad as it looked beast as hell.
dude. The fucking ghosts. The
Ghosts
fucking
and the fucking the we were talking about this before. The bear trap looking thing with the lasers.
Mhm.
That thing looked. If you haven't seen the trailer, it's worth watching
That
the
did look
trailer.
pretty
It's
cool.
only like
A
an hour.
freaking
It's only like a
laser.
minute and a half.
I think it's
long.
an hour.
Yeah, it's
like-
only like an hour and a half long.
it's more like a movie, not a trailer.
But it's worth watching it just to see. Honestly, just to see the ghosts and the gear. The comedy in the trailer is, I hope, the worst of the movie, because if that's the best of the movie, man, that's gonna be a long
You know
ride.
what? You know what I don't understand is like why movies. It's like they put the black person in there and to give street cred, and with all like stereotyping and everything that's been going on today, it's like why do people continue to do that? You kind of
It did seem very, yeah.
like the three white chicks are the smart scientists, and then the one chick works at the.
Ghetto
Streetwise.
Fabulous.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like it just seems like
Well,
And then when she-
that is kind
Then
of
when she
that
rolls up
is
the hearse,
kind of
she's like, "It's a Cadillac."
That is
Yeah,
kind of the same
exactly.
formula as the original Ghostbusters, though, too.
in the 80s.
Yeah.
But I mean, in the 90s, or in the
I don't know.
2010s,
Not
it's
not
like-
that casual racism was charming back in the '80s,
Right.
but you'd think we've learned something in the last 30 years. You'd hope.
Nah.
Right. Let's take a step forward here and not stereotype minorities of any kind in movies. Maybe that'll do it. I don't know.
Maybe.
So, in other news, the Suicide Squad is already planned for a sequel.
So obviously, no one dies.
Well, that doesn't.
Oh, I don't
that
know.
Doesn't
I'm just
necessarily.
saying.
I mean,
I-
the only people that are already attached to it are the director and Will Smith.
Will
I
Smith.
hope Will Smith dies in. Aww.
Oh, yep. He makes
Yep.
it through the first film, apparently.
Damn
I mean, if
I
the aliens
don't know. I mean,
come from Zion
I
to
don't
save
like
them.
the idea of Will Smith. I think he is one of those high-profile actors that does pull you out of the role. I'm not.
I
a
love
fan
Will
of him
Smith.
being in this
I
movie.
like Will Smith. I don't want to see him in this.
But I'm
I
pumped.
agree.
I'm pumped to see this movie. I think this is going to be good. I think I'm intrigued. I'm not going to say I'm excited about it, but I'm intrigued by Jared Leto's Joker rendition. I think what was it? Margot Robbie, is that her name? The chick that did Harley
Yeah,
Quinn.
Harley
I
Quinn.
think she's going to be hands down the showcase of that film.
I mean,
I think for sure she's going to be the best, like the shining light in that whole thing. But
Yeah, she's probably going to be the character that most people talk about, for better or worse.
Well, because she's wearing booty shorts.
Well,
that's
I
what
don't
I was
think it has
going to say.
anything
Like
to-
her
I mean-
shorts are going to be
I
the
mean,
Well,
shorts.
okay,
she's a
maybe
super
we'll talk
popular
about that,
character.
but like yes, exactly. It's a popular character, and in all the video clips that we've seen, she plays a pretty good version of Harley Quinn. I mean, it's like a mixture of what you see in the comics and what you see in the video games, and it's kind of like a conglomeration of all of that, but it feels like Harley Quinn. When you see her in those movie trailers, like, you're okay, yeah, I buy that. That's Harley Quinn.
Feels like a summer morning.
It feels like a summer morning.
Feels like a summer morning.
Is he singing like commercials about douches now?
No, it's not a douche commercial. It's a lunch
Hey, Doug.
commercial.
Hey, Fox, do you ever get that not so fresh feeling?
That's what I'm saying. Like, isn't that called like summer something or other?
I think it's Summer's Eve, not Sunday morning.
He said summer morning.
No, I
He
said
said-
Sunday morning.
Oh, I thought you said summer morning. Okay.
Someone's thinking about
Either way,
their cleanliness.
yeah. My vagina's apparently not very clean.
Need to flush it.
Yeah, I guess. It's from hanging out with all you dirty bastards. Did you guys see the trailer for Star Wars episode or for Force Awakens for the home release?
What? Oh no.
There's
Yeah.
a trailer for that?
There's a trailer for the Blu-ray DVD release of Star Wars Force Awakens, which is scheduled to
It
come
comes out in
April 5th.
April? Yeah.
April 5th. Deleted scenes. There's going to be a full documentary about the making of the movie.
I just went and saw it again in the theater last weekend
Did you?
because I'm like, I have to see it again before
Does it hold
leaves.
up? Does it hold up still? Like
Oh,
after
yeah,
all everybody dissecting it for months now?
It's been. I mean, it had been 2 months since I watched it last because I watched it twice opening weekend, and I haven't actually been able to make it back since then. And still, like the entire time, I was sitting through it, just like excited the whole time. Like
Nice.
it's
That's good to hear.
it's still great.
I'm pumped. I can't wait to get like the Blu-ray like director's like special edition or whatever
There's-
with the.
There's no scenes in it that really just drag and are slow, and it's like, oh, this scene, can we skip past this one so we can get to the good part? Like the whole movie, I wanted to watch the whole thing, which is like key to me for a movie becoming an instant classic. Is,
Not a
is
bad
what's the
way.
rewatchability factor?
But I hate when movies don't have dragon scenes because I depend on those drags
To go to the
To
bathroom.
go pee.
to go take a piss. Yeah.
The only scene in the only part of that movie that for me kind of dragged a little bit, not even a lot, not even in a bad way, but leading up to Han Solo's death, it kind of like the part right before, like kind of before that, it felt a little slow to me, but
Maybe.
it wasn't even like I wouldn't consider it like you said, like one of those like can we just skip this already? Like
Actually, I take it back. There is one scene that takes uncomfortably long to get through, but we're only talking maybe 30 seconds. But it's like, did this scene really need to be this long? When Kylo Ren is interrogating Rey, and he's doing the like try to read your mind thing, and she's fighting back, and it just keeps going back and forth, like just the facial expressions, like the grunting and like
Are you sure he was integrating her, not
it just
mind fucking her?
it just goes on, and it's like, okay, you could have cut this in half and we would have gotten it. Like they're struggling, like there's nothing else going on here, like
Either that or
it's like a
somebody's trying to
staring
paint a loaf.
contest. Like this really should have been edited down a little bit.
What would have been really funny if they would have been like doing that, and then all of a sudden you hear like a fart noise, and then Kylo Ren's like, I gotta go.
Then I should be directing this movie if you want fart sounds.
Just grunt,
Like, oh.
just grunt after grunt after grunt, and then.
You're like, oh, that was
Oh
was
man, I
solid.
focused too
Gotta
hard.
go.
Smell the force.
The Force Awakens.
Imagine how bad that would smell.
Ew,
inside that
I
helmet
could-
of his. Like, it just
Taste the
permeates up his
force.
suit. Fucking sits right in the helmet. Oh, awful. Might make his hair look even greasier. I don't know. Wow. How do we get onto these topics sometimes? I don't know. I
I
don't
blame Brian.
I'm with you. I'll go that route.
Smell the power of my farts.
So Brian sent something to the rest of us in the chat. I don't know if anybody got a chance to read it. I certainly didn't because I don't read most of the stuff he sends. But it said something
A
along
lot of
the
poop
lines.
jokes.
Yeah, there's a lot of poop jokes. It said something along the lines of episode 8 is going to pick up right where episode 7 left off. There's not going to be like a time gap between the two movies, which I don't necessarily think is a really big surprise to any
thought I
of
sent
us.
that.
Did you send that?
I don't
I don't know.
remember.
What a
I ignore
dick.
a lot. I ignore a lot from you too. I'm pretty sure Brian.
Yeah,
sent it.
yeah.
No, it doesn't really surprise me all that much that they would. There's so many questions left unanswered that I think
No, it was me.
you would really kind of lose some of the excitement if you skipped ahead 5 years or even a year or
Yeah,
2
like
years.
Rafe's wedding while training.
No, it was me because I
They're gonna
sent
be like,
I sent the link and said that there's no time jump, and Brian replied with a GIF of Marty and Doc in the DeLorean time machine from Back to the Future.
Well,
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because this is the first time that like a movie will pick up where the last one left off. Like every other one, there's been some sort of skip where we pick up in the middle of something else. And
has there though?
yes,
None of them pick up right where the last one left off.
no, I mean episode 1 to 2
Well, 1,
is
2, and
like
3.
10 years, like damn near 10
Yeah,
years.
they
2
all
to 3 jumps entirely across the entire Clone Wars. Then obviously there's a huge skip to 4.
Yeah.
4 to 5, ends like several battles later, picks up in the middle of the battle on Hoth.
But five to
and then-
6.
And then between 5 and 6, like Luke, all of the rest of Luke's Jedi training. Like he immediately shows up at Jabba's palace
How
as
long
like
was it between 4 and 5?
Jedi.
Can we get a fact check, Pirate?
It's not long.
Timeline between
It's not-
episode 4 and 5.
It's not a long time jump, but there have been several battles. The rebel base has moved around a bit because they were on Yavin and now they're at Echo Base on Hoth.
Yeah, but I thought
so,
they went straight. I thought they went straight from Yavin. Like after they destroyed the Death Star. I thought that's when like they packed everything up and then went to Hoth from Yavin, Yavin 4, I think it was. But I thought that was like kind of like only thing we skipped was like because remember they were still setting up the base at Hoth. So I thought that the only thing that we really missed there was like, okay, put your shit in your ship. Let's fly over here to this other planet, and then that
1
was
year.
like it. So really 1 year.
The film is set 1 year after the Empire's invasion of Cloud City, when Luke Skywalker and friends travel to Tatooine to rescue their friend Han Solo from the vile
No.
Jabba.
No. 4 and
that's
5.
between 5 and 6. We
Oh.
want
5 and
4 and
6 has
5.
got a year.
Whoa.
How much between 4 and 5? So that's not too long either. 5 and 6, that's a year, but that's not terribly long.
So the opening crawl for Empire Strikes Back is it's a dark time for the rebellion. Although the Death Star's been destroyed, Imperial troops have driven the rebel forces from their hidden base and pursued them across the galaxy. Evading the dreaded Imperial Starfleet, a group of freedom fighters led by Luke Skywalker has established a new secret base on the remote ice world of Hoth. So like, and then Darth Vader's dispatch thousands of remote probes into the far reaches of space trying to find them. So I mean, like, it's not. I don't know that it's like. Wait, no, here we go. Yeah, chronological information 3 years after Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope.
Oh wow.
So 3 years
Okay.
passed between Episode 4 and 5.
Oh wow. I did not think. I stand corrected.
Wait, but
corrected.
is that movie timeline, or is that like, because it's also been 3 years since they were both released?
Oh,
So
yeah,
is
that's
that-
true.
That was established.
The
Because-
film is set 3 years after. Yeah, no,
Oh,
he's right.
All right.
It says here the film is set 3 years after Star Wars,
Alright,
the
well, I
Galactic
stand
Empire under
corrected.
leadership. Yeah.
So the closest we have right now is 5 to 6, which is
Yeah,
1
5
year.
to 6 being
I
only
could
a
see
year.
this being a year too, though. I could see that being like, leaving off right where picking up right where you left off. I could see a year is not, that's because obviously Rey is going to be training with Luke Skywalker.
I mean,
Like,
I'm
that's happening.
pretty sure though that it literally starts with Rey and Luke standing there right where they left
You
off.
think so?
That was the impression I got.
I think that
Okay.
it's going to stand right there. It's going to start right where we left off, but there's going to be a sweet ass montage, like of her training, of her training, and then it's going to be like flash forward a year, but there's going to be some
I
sweet,
hope it's a
like,
straight
power rock
80s
song.
style.
Can you?
I need a
Yeah, 80s style.
Power
Yeah.
ballad montage style.
They're gonna play that "You're the Best around," and
Yeah.
she's gonna be running up and down
they
those
cannot
steps
do
on
that.
the
They
island,
cannot do
just
that to
over
Karate
and
Kid.
over and over.
It's bad enough
Um,
that they remade Karate Kid with Will Smith's son Jaden and fucking
Oh,
Jackie
that's terrible.
Chan.
You know, that wasn't actually a terrible movie.
It
I'm
was
gonna say it.
awful.
It was
How
bad.
dare you? How dare you?
It was nowhere near as good as the originals, but
Okay.
it was not a
He,
terrible movie.
How about he taught him kung fu, and they
Yeah.
called the movie Karate Kid.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just
Well-
saying that's like making like a fucking.
movie
Okay.
That's like
with-
remaking Roots and using
The
all
chick
white
from $1 Million
characters.
Baby was better. Karate
Had
Kid
it not
than that one.
had it not been the Karate Kid, it would have been a decent movie.
I'm
But it was Karate
just-
Kid.
I'm
So it's
Yeah.
not
just
a
saying-
decent movie.
I'm
Okay,
just
that's
saying,
fair.
that's a pretty big that's a pretty
But was
flagrant fuck up.
Was it us that were we talking few weeks ago at one point when we were talking about Star Wars Force Awakens and we said, we were discussing whether we wanted to see a time jump or not, and it's like, would you want to hear that conversation that happens at that point between Luke and Rey,
Yes, I wanna hear that
or would you
conversation.
rather see things pick up later, and not have it feel like it's just a continuation of Episode 7?
No, I think I think 100% we want to hear that conversation, whether it's right
Well,
then at the
I
beginning
think
of the
we're
movie,
going to
or
now.
whether it's a flashback to
A
it.
flashback, yeah.
I think we're going to hear that, and we definitely want to, because I think that's when we're going to figure out who Rey is. I think we're going to figure
Yeah.
out right then and there whether it's, because I think Luke knows whether it's his daughter or whether it's Han and Leia's daughter. He knows either way. So
I have a feeling the conversation is going to start like this.
let's have
I
it.
found your lightsaber, Luke. Sweet. Did you find the hand that was with it?
Oh!
Could you give me a hand with that?
Could you give me a hand with that? Damn, the hits just keep coming from Comic Book Nerd Nation.
Hey, I mean, in what was it? Timothy Zahn, the Heir to the Empire trilogy. They find his hand and they use it to clone him, and there's an evil clone Luke that Luke has to battle, and everybody thought that was
remember that.
everybody thought that was the greatest Star Wars series ever written.
That was
and most
like
people thought-
that was like mid '90s or something, wasn't it?
91. Well,
91.
91 was when the first book came out. The clone Luke didn't show up till the third book in the trilogy.
They made
Well,
a,
thanks.
probably-
I'm only on the middle of the second book. But
You're a little behind. I'm just
the spoiler clause is
about 20 years behind.
yeah. Let me see here.
They made a Bizarro Luke.
Aren't we all?
Heir to the Empire. Yeah, the
The
first
end
one,
Luke
Heir to the Empire,
Skywalker.
was published in 1991.
It was, Last Command,
Last Command was the one that we're looking.
who I think was the third one.
It's the third in the series.
I'm trying to. Trying to see if I can get a date on that.
Time warp again.
Last command.
Why don't you just go to?
Yeah, I don't know. Can we get a date on that?
Yeah, I've got it. It was 93.
93. Okay. Yeah, I remember reading those. Those books were super good. Those Timothy Zahn. If you guys are listening to this and you haven't read the Timothy Zahn trilogy, Heir to the Empire, you're doing it wrong. You need to go read that.
Didn't Timothy Zahn did he write the Star Wars RPG game too? Or did he just
the RPG?
He might have
I never
done
played the RPG game.
Which one?
Old Republic.
the first one, not the one that was just Star Wars that came out in the 90s?
The original like West End Games D6 one.
Yeah.
He might have had. I know that there were
A
there
better
were at
question
least
is, can we get our
source
hands
books.
on it so we can play it?
I have it.
Oh yeah,
boy.
I have
I've
the
got some
box
of it,
set.
too. I know that they like the books were so popular that his series were so popular that they actually made source books, like expansion source books that like were based
shit.
on
Okay.
that.
How crazy was that time period for Star Wars, considering there really wasn't anything being made film wise? The books and the card games
There was-
and the board games and the everything else was just blowing the fuck up.
There was Alan Dean Foster's Splinter of the Mind's Eye was like the only book that came out like back around the time of the original trilogy, and then there was like this huge gap in the 80s where there was like
Nothing.
Star Wars was over and done with,
It was
and
just
then
like a Star Wars famine.
1991, Timothy Zahn writes Heir to the Empire, and everybody's like, oh my god, we can launch an entire expanded universe off of this.
You just created a fucking
Like,
industry.
the dude birthed a universe. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, that guy is.
You know, they bring Grand Admiral Thrawn to Star Wars Rebels.
Do you what now? Say that again. You were kind of quiet.
They might bring Grand Admiral Thrawn to Star Wars Rebels.
Oh shit.
He wouldn't be a Grand Admiral. They'd use him as another role.
I kind of think that they really
But-
almost owe it to Timothy Zahn to at least like carry over a little bit. Like they need to do some homages to his material, because I really think that what carried the torch for Star Wars and got it to the episode 1 phase where episode 1 came out was the books. That's what kept the fires lit was those books that he was writing, and that sub-genre of book that everybody kind of followed. Topher was up. He wasn't here. I think he's back now. But don't you think that they ought to do some kind of homage in the films? Maybe not the 3 big films, but maybe the side films, like the individual titles, to some of the Timothy Zahn stuff. I think they should pay him a little respect.
I mean, in a way they have, though. I mean, a lot of the concepts from the expanded universe made it into the movies. The fact that, that Luke and Leia, or excuse me, that Leia and Han stayed together and have kids, like a lot of like the remnants of the
Hear that? He
Empire
said kids, everyone.
banding.
Kids, plural. Kids. Kids.
The-
He's on
the-
my side
the
now.
The remnants of the Empire banding together and coming under the lead of somebody else, and coming up with a new super weapon, and just a lot of the one of Han and Leia's children turning to the dark side and becoming
He said
one of
the
the next
children.
big Sith Lord. Yeah, because that's what happened in the expanded universe. I'm saying the concepts that the movies borrowed. Not necessarily the eventual number, but yeah, here we go.
I
have
have the
my,
hardback copies too.
Well, these are the last. This one's a hardback. These are the last Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and Last Command, the Timothy Zahn
These are
trilogy
like
source books.
textbook size.
That's for
Well,
the
these are
game.
the source books for the.
Oh, the
These are the
source
source
book.
books,
Oh, I'm
RPG.
sorry. Okay, I thought they were the. All right. Oh, that's cool. I thought they were the stories. I was like, damn, I had like the little fucking paperback bitches, but they were thick.
No, This is real nerd stuff right here.
And he was.
This is that OG.
These were written. These weren't written by Timothy Zahn, but
OG
I mean
stands for
they.
Original Geek, by the way.
Right. Yeah, these weren't. The game design was done by Bill Slavichak. I'm probably butchering his name terribly. Yeah, so Timothy Zahn didn't write the source books, but I mean, there were 3 entire, supplemental books based on his novels.
That's dope. We need to play that game sometime.
Some of the later ones are actually really good. Like they're now on like the 4th or 5th edition of Star Wars RPG tabletop games. And
did they ever go to the D20 system since Wizards took it and said you can just do whatever you want with it?
When Wizards had it, Wizards of the Coast, the company that makes Dungeons and Dragons, Wizards had it, and there was an edition that was D20 based called Star Wars Saga Edition that came out God, it's probably been not quite 10 years yet, I don't think. And they came out with 13 different source books, and I've got them all. And that game was actually really well done because it was while they were doing the D&D 4th edition development, and so it still captured everything that was great about 3rd edition, and yet still had a lot of the simplifications that they were working on to put in 4th edition. And so it was pretty well streamlined, and combat was amazingly simple. But the character builds were still, all the complexity that you could want in there with multi-classing and everything. It was great, because they still hadn't completely ruined it like they ended up doing with 4th edition. So that honestly was I'm actually running a game. No, excuse me, I'm not running a game. I'm playing in a game that my brother's running for some friends of ours that uses that rule system because it's super fucking good. But now Fantasy Flight has the license. Wizards decided, I don't know, they were done with it, or Lucasfilm stripped the license. I don't know what happened, but way too soon Wizards was done with it, and Fantasy Flight's had it for a few years now, and their system's interesting, but it's not D20 or the old D6 version. They use it's kind of like the dice from if you've played the X-Wing board game, because Fantasy Flight also makes the X-Wing game, that Imperial Assault, like dungeon crawl style game. They're really good games.
They got the dice with the marketing symbols.
Yeah, the dice are proprietary, so it's got hit symbols and extra symbols on them. And so it's like a contested roll for everything. You roll
shit to do it.
I mean, it comes with the game.
Yeah, but you could use for games like
you
that.
Want to say it one more time? It comes with the game.
You could take dice and just designate numbers for different symbols.
Yeah, you can. It's a pain. It's hard enough to keep track of them on the proprietary dice, to be honest, because each face normally has 2 or 3 symbols on it, and you're rolling a handful, and then you're canceling out symbols on. I mean, it's not hard. It's not hard. It sounds more complicated than it is.
It's a low budget way to game though. Sometimes, but if you ain't got it.
It's actually
or if you lose one.
But it's actually a neat system because instead of just normally when you're just rolling with numbers, there's always a target number and you made it or you didn't, and you just kind of make shit up from there. But the neat thing about the way their dice are, you have hits and you have whenever you make a roll, you roll your ability dice. You make up a dice pool based on your ability scores and your skills, and then you add in difficulty dice. And there are hits on your dice that cancel out, and misses that can cancel out the hits on the challenge dice. And then there's also side advantage and disadvantage symbols that can cancel each other out. And on the biggest dice, there's actually what they call a triumph and a despair, which are ultimate success and ultimate failure. And they can all cancel each other out. And so you end up with these die rolls that you can succeed, but you can still have disadvantage with it. So you might successfully do what you were attempting to do,
massive losses and winning the battle,
but manage fucking up or alerting somebody to your presence, or it's really interesting the way that it the dice rolls can actually add story elements in it,
That's
which
cool.
is something that doesn't normally happen. So I'm a big fan of that system too.
Let's shift gears and jump over to what we've been reading, Pirate.
What have I been reading?
I was looking for a jingle. Jesus, you're man.
I'm off today on the jingles.
You're just behind the 8 ball, son. All right, let's try that again. Let's shift gears and jump over to what we've been reading, Pirate.
It's that time to tell you that we didn't read anything except for Topher. So go ahead, Topher. Spend 15 minutes talking about X-Men, and Brian talking about something about poop, and Fox may make up a number or two. And
you lost it. You lost it.
That's what we've been reading.
All right. Yeah, you're right. I did not get a chance to read. I have it sitting right here on my desk. I have not had a chance to break it open yet and read it. But Birth of the Demon. I want to read this very, very badly.
After Birth of the Demon.
That's the
origin story for Ra's al Ghul.
Ra's al Ghul. And that was it Denny O'Neil or
Neil
Mike
Adams.
Barr, Dennis O'Neil, Jerry Bingham, Tom Greinberg, and Norm Brayfogle.
Yeah.
There's
Right.
writers are Mike Barr and Dennis O'Neil.
And what's his face drew a lot of it, didn't he? No.
Nope.
I love how you know I love how you know who I'm
Neil
talking
Adams.
about. Yeah, Neil Adams. I thought he drew some of the original Ra's al Ghul
He
stuff.
likes to take credit for creating
Original,
Ra's al
but I
Ghul.
think Birth of a Demon came out years later.
Oh.
Yeah, I think he was.
Oh, this was an origin story after the fact?
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Okay.
An origin after the origin.
This is
Right.
Origin after first appearance.
Gotcha.
If that makes
The
sense.
flashback origin.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's do
So,
the
but
time
I
again.
want to read it, but it's one of those things like I want to be able to carve out enough time to like read it in like 2 or 3 sittings, not just like 2 pages today, 2 pages tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, and I just haven't had the time to. To do it. So, well, let's jump over to Topher. He's got something about the Power Rangers going.
Issue number 1 of Power Rangers came out.
What was
This is a
that?
giant poster.
Is that supposed
What's
to be
that?
a weak ass attempt at the theme for Power Rangers?
Right.
Awful.
I haven't gotten to read a ton of stuff. Like I've been buying some interesting looking things lately. Like the Star Wars stuff all
looks like
seems
a
really good.
lightsaber.
There's some Avengers and X-Men storylines that are both coming up. There's this like Avengers standoff storyline that's starting. That's I guess supposed to be a pretty big deal. That is gonna that's gonna maybe cover some of the stuff that happened in the gap after Secret Wars left off.
Slipping in the gap.
And then there's the X-Men have some big Apocalypse crossover coming up that looks kind of cool. I mean, it's interesting to see them tying in and like gearing up Apocalypse stuff before the Apocalypse movie from Fox. Like that's kind of
It's a weird
interesting.
coincidence.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
expected
Movies,
that.
comic books do that.
Well, but I mean,
Marvel
like
does that. They don't have like coming up before an Iron Man or Avengers movie. They don't have
I
37
bet.
Iron Man.
I bet.
Oh,
as
no, they
soon as
they
you
definitely
see
do for Marvel
Apocalypse.
Guardians
movies.
of the Galaxy, another perfect.
They
example.
definitely do for the Marvel movies. They
Rocket
typically don't
Raccoon.
for the Fox movies. Is my
They're
point.
gonna.
Yeah,
They're
okay.
gonna redraw fucking Apocalypse and look
Wolverine.
like Wishmaster.
Yeah, are they going to change it to where he looks like fucking Ivan Ooze from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? Is that why you're showing us the Power Rangers thing?
Yeah, that's exactly it. But no, the big thing I did read was I read the Thunderbolt. I read the entire Thunderbolt series from 2012. It was actually pretty good. So Thunderbolts was a series. The original Thunderbolts book was a team of villains that like went around. It was almost like Suicide Squad, where it was a bunch of villains going around doing good
Villainy
stuff.
things.
No, kind of banding together and working for good for some reason. I don't remember exactly. It was basically like a team of former supervillains who wanted redemption and were
Basically a
banding
blatant
together to
ripoff of
heroes.
Suicide Squad.
But I mean that was years ago. I don't remember. I don't know which one. I'm sure Suicide Squad came first. But that was an old series. They redid a Thunderbolt series several years ago. That basically it's kind of a team of vigilante superheroes who tend to be
Anti-hero.
solo characters, anti-heroes that all teamed up together. So you've got Red Hulk, and it took me way too long to piece this one together, but General Ross, the Red Hulk who plagued the Green Hulk for years. And I didn't realize until later that his nickname is Thunderbolt Ross, and so he puts together a team called the Thunderbolts, and I really didn't make that connection for way too long. I'm ashamed to admit.
Thunderbolts go.
But it's kind of cool because he decides that there's a lot of shady shit going on in the world, and he basically wants a black ops team of people who want to do good but aren't afraid to get their hands dirty and do what needs to be done.
I hope they brought Purell.
I see what you did there. So he goes around and recruits Punisher, Venom, the Flash Thompson Venom, that is, Elektra, and Deadpool, and decides he's going to put together this team of anti-heroes, to go.
I need a hero.
To go do shit. It starts off a little slow, honestly. The first 6 issues are written by Daniel Way, who I guess was the guy who did. He'd done the Deadpool series that came out before that, but like the one prior to the most recent one. So he actually, he writes Deadpool fairly well because he did it for an entire volume of Deadpool. But the weird thing is, this series ran concurrently with Dugan and Posehn's Deadpool run, which took the character not necessarily in a slightly different direction, but that was the series that ended up seeing Deadpool get married and all this stuff, and like everything he's doing in that series is happening concurrently with this one, and in this one he's still like hung up on Elektra for some reason, and like it's really weird that they were happening at the same time, and it's like these are two completely different fucking characters. And one thing that sometimes bothers me about characters that show up in multiple things is it's like nobody gets together and meets on continuity and says, okay, here's this character status quo, here's what's going on for them, like let's make sure everybody's on the same page. It's like they copied the character and just took him in two completely different directions. The art was okay in the first 6 issues. It wasn't amazing, but it was good. And then like after issue 6, like the timeline and kind of the first story arc, the timeline jumps around a lot and it's kind of difficult to follow. But after issue 6, Charles Soule starts writing it, and the book gets really fucking good. It becomes this really neat, like trade-off between missions that they're running for General Ross, and then the individual missions that each of the other team members want to run. And it's kind of really cool to see them each get a turn and see what their motivations are and see what they really want to do if they had the forces of an entire team behind them. And in the interactions between a bunch of socially awkward misfits, basically, that like loners that don't really get along with people, all crammed in a van together, is kind of neat. And even the artwork got better later on. There, another one of my favorite parts was later on. Who's the artist? Carlo Barberi and Israel Silva is the colorist. Like they were on point for like a bunch of issues on this series. At one point they have Ghost Rider joins the team, and so like everybody on this team, like their color scheme is kind of black and red, which to me is just like I love that color combination visually. So like they end up going to
Hot Topic.
they end up having to go to hell to go fight Mephisto to redeem somebody, and like just like that entire story arc, like the artwork and the coloring and everything in here is just like it was freaking great. Like I loved this series. And then I guess it finally eventually got slated for cancellation. The whole series ran 32 issues, up through 26. Sewell was writing it, and then somebody else took over writing for the I guess the closing arc, the Punisher versus the Thunderbolts, where Punisher finally decides that he doesn't like the way the team's going anymore, and decides to fight them instead. And honestly, it was kind of a not a great ending to the series, but for a very long time,
Sounds like it was forced, kind of.
Well, I mean, series get canceled, and when they get canceled, somebody wraps them up, and so like storylines can sometimes get left dangling. And on this one, it was like, okay, we're moving on from this. Charles Soule is a good writer. We're going to put him on something that's actually selling. And let's see here, random junior writer, we're tapping you to finish it. You write a closing story arc. It wasn't bad. It's just after, like, Charles Soule's a hard act to follow, and so. Him drawing it to a conclusion was kind of like, oh, well, I'm kind of sad to see it end. Like, this isn't, it wasn't what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen Charles Soule keep writing the series for a while, because it actually was very good in the middle. But it's 32 issues long. It was fun. It was a good read. I recommend it.
I forgot. Oh, go ahead.
The annoying thing is I was trying to bring up some of the cool artwork in here, but so last week Marvel Unlimited, which is a great series but a absolutely terrible app, it logged me out and decided that everybody needed to create more secure passwords, and like for a week now I've been logged back in and it doesn't realize it, and it won't let me read any more than the first 3 sample pages of every fucking issue, and it really makes me hate them.
That's pretty aggravating. I forgot to mention this before. We'll get over to Brian and Pirate see if they've read anything. But
Pirate's reading something right now.
Did any of you get to see?
I could have something to talk about.
Did any of you get to see the artwork that Jim Lee released for his variant cover of Batman v Superman?
No, I did not see that.
Holy
No.
shit!
Well, it's Jim Lee. You could only imagine what it looks
God.
like.
I'm gonna send it to you guys right now. I mean,
It looks like my dick.
this dude
Man,
is
DC's
super
pushing-
talented.
DC's pushing that movie hard, though. Like, every single one of DC's comics this week has a Batman v Superman banner at the top of the cover.
Oh yeah, well that doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me.
No, but like it's a banner like right at the top of the
Yeah.
cover. It's not even like an ad
Well, they
inside.
did the same
It's like,
thing.
oh my god.
I think they did the same thing with like the Nolan series when the Nolan series was out. They did the same shit.
Yeah, but those movies were
Marvel
good.
does something like that too. In the corner box, they usually says the issue
Yeah.
number. They usually have.
check
Yeah.
out the artwork I sent you guys in the chat thread.
Damn.
Artwork.
This
Artwork.
picture is dope as fuck. It's not inked in completely. It's like rough pencils, I think is what he called it.
You're a rough pencil.
Holy shit! How would you like to buy that and have that hanging on the wall of your office or
Something
something?
whipping your rough pencil out now.
Jesus Christ!
I got a sharp.
The level
my rough
of detail
pencil.
that he includes is just
Fabulous.
it's unparalleled.
You're gonna say fabulous.
No, I was gonna say unparalleled. Because that's what I said.
Fabulous.
Pirate, did you get a chance to read anything?
I read some Deadpool and Cable, some old stuff. Just going through that series. That's about it.
That's a fucking awesome series.
Yeah, I'm really early in it. Like I've had it for a while and just haven't.
Wait, which one?
I'd start the Deadpool and Cable.
Oh yeah.
But like,
The original one.
yeah, like I basically just got to the one because I have to restart it all the time because I always wait so long to go back to it.
Forget what happened.
But yeah, but it's where he's fighting the Blue Man, fucking
The Blue Man Group.
yeah, the Blue Man Group, the cult. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just finished that one.
Yeah, here's the Tover's holding up the this is the variant cover for Batman v Superman from Jim Lee that he just released on his Twitter. If you're watching the video of this, it is unbelievably detailed. I mean, this picture is a little fuzzy, but you can kind of get the idea.
You're a little fuzzy.
I am.
Sometimes the little fuzzies get together and rub up against
I mean,
each other.
he's got like all the little cross hatching for
everything.
shadows on the faces and
Everything.
stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
This is like an inker's nightmare. Inker's
Yeah,
looking at this like, oh,
You're an
fuck
inker's
me.
nightmare.
I think he does his own inks though.
Mm.
You do your own things.
All right. Enough delaying. Brian, did you read anything that
I read. Oh, whoops.
the back of a toilet paper roll?
Yeah, it was just blank. It was boring. No, I read Avenger Standoff Alpha #1. So, to what Chris said, it will tell you nothing about Secret Wars. It's basically a lead into the. Yeah, that's it. It's yellow because Chris peed on it.
Very bright yellow.
But
That's kind of a cool cover though.
Yeah.
without
Simplistic.
giving
It's
it
kinda-
away,
yeah.
it's basically Winter Soldier knows Shield's up to something, and most of the story takes place in this new Shield jail that was made basically because regular jails don't work. They figured out, so somehow they are able to suppress the memories of villains and give them new memories, and they used fragments of the cosmic cube to change their appearance so they don't know who they are until Zemo somehow finds a way to. It's really good story, but it's weird because some of the villains figured out who they really are, but they still look like different people, and it all takes place. They're all being held in this facility, but it looks like an old like. You ever see that movie Pleasantville?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The town reminds you of that.
Well, it's the town's called Pleasant Hill.
Yeah,
Oh, shit.
Wow.
but
About
it's
blatant
all leading up.
rip-off.
It's all leading up to. I don't know if it'll lead into Civil War 2, but it's leading up to the also the new Thunderbolts series that's coming out in a couple of months, led by Winter Soldier.
Nice.
I mean,
I mean, that sounds.
I have a problem with comics nowadays. They're not. The new shit coming out isn't that great.
There really hasn't been a lot to get excited about lately. I mean,
And they're just rebooting everything again, especially
Yeah.
DC.
yeah,
It's
DC's
like
doing the
just
whole
fucking
reboot.
come on.
I don't know. I hope DC's reboot's good. I mean, I'm obviously more, my favorite character is Hulk, but reading wise, my favorite characters are more, Batman, Green Lantern, that kind of stuff. And I hope they do something with the reboot that is exciting. Because I look back and like Forever
I miss
Evil
the old
was,
universe.
Forever Evil was really the last thing that I was really, really excited about. Like,
Yeah,
couldn't wait to get the next issue of. So I don't know.
I
We'll
miss
just have
the
to
old
kinda-
universe, the old
Well, maybe
DCU
maybe
where they wore
we're-
underwear outside their pants.
I mean, maybe we're heading back towards something like that. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But
You know,
until then, I think that's about it for this episode. I'm Fox 2. We got Pirate,
Have a good one.
Topher,
Have a good one.
and the whole effing Brian.
have a decent one.